Update. Husband got weird about physical affection from me and things escalated badly. Original story. My 36 female husband, 34 male, married for 2 years and together for 5 altogether. Used to be very affectionate with each other in a way that was playful, flirty, and warm. A couple months ago, he decided I was too clingy and that he wanted to be the one to initiate all physical contact from then on. I do not think I was/am clingy. I initiated hugs and kisses a few times a day with a few other casual touches like a hand on the shoulder, but it was very far from groping him every second. I know he has also been coming to terms with some issues from a difficult childhood at the time. Not physical mistreatment, more emotional abandonment/alienation issues with his parents. So I wanted to give him space and not make this about me, especially as he promised to continue being regularly affectionate. And he has done so. Maybe a bit less than before, but we still have some affectionate touches, initiated by him, every day, and more intimate activities a couple times a week. Used to be more like 3 to 4 times a week. But again, I know he's going through some stuff. A few days ago, I found out at work that I had gotten a big promotion and bonus. When I got home, I was so excited that I threw my arms around him, thereby violating his rule that he needed to be the one to initiate contact. He immediately pushed me away and got extremely angry. It was not a sexual hug at all, more like the kind you see sport team members giving each other when they win a big game. I tried to apologize, but he started yelling about how I am an abuser and traumatized him. He asked me to leave, so I quickly packed a few things and went to a motel, not wanting things to escalate further. I understand from his brother that after I left, he tried to go to the police to press charges, but they said that a quick hug from one's wife, even if not really wanted/expected, was not the kind of thing they're going to prosecute. He is now threatening to call my employer to tell them I am an abuser who engages in intimate misconduct in my personal life. I am not asking for legal advice about that here. What I'm asking is, honestly, would he be justified in telling my employer about what happened? I didn't make a terrible mistake even if it wasn't malicious. I believe people are allowed to determine that they don't want others to initiate touch and should have bodily autonomy. Just because I wouldn't be traumatized over a hug doesn't mean he shouldn't be. I'm willing to accept that he may very well divorce me over this, and that I may lose other important friendships and family relationships. But should I also lose my job? My job is working with other adults in an office, not vulnerable people. I don't and have never initiated physical contact with coworkers except an occasional handshake or accepting a high five. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Your husband is a literal danger to you. He's trying to send you to prison and ruin your life because of a mistaken hug. His mental issues have advanced to the point where it is no longer safe for you to be around him. Please consult an attorney. If your husband feels so unsafe around you, do him the favor of removing yourself from his life. Also, consider a restraining order on him since he is harassing you at work. It's sad, but you are correct. Husband has obviously gone beyond a point where he can maintain a healthy relationship due to his issues. The fact that he turned to violent behavior, pushing, screaming, is especially concerning. Appropriate reaction, stepping back and saying, "Please remember to respect my physical boundaries. I'm happy for you, but I still need space." Massively insane overreaction. Everything your husband did. Warn your boss that your husband is unstable. He is having some kind of mental health crisis and you are the target. Talk to a lawyer. He's trying to ruin your life because you hugged your husband. You need a lawyer to protect yourself as it's a job. You also need to consider if he's a physical danger to you. This is incredibly unhinged. Holy heck. All this over a hug? You didn't do anything wrong. It's fine for him to be upset and remind you of his boundaries. But cops and threatening your job? Way, way, way over the top. Thank you. I really do get him being upset if this rule is what he needs right now. I would have hoped, though, that in seeing that I just made a thoughtless mistake in a moment of excitement and did not purposefully violate his boundary and consent, he would have firmly/sternly reminded me of it, and that would have been the end of it. This was the first time I have made this mistake since I made a request a couple months ago. You did not make a terrible mistake, and it sounds like he's nuts. Sorry. Divorce him and tell your job about this ASAP. Thank you. My employer isn't the greatest in terms of sympathy for personal issues, but I can probably go to my boss and HR tomorrow and let them know that my husband is having a mental health crisis and making paranoid accusations. I hope they would not hold that against me whether or not he ends up calling them as he threatened. And now for the update. So, things came to a head, but not the way I was expecting. My husband's brother-in-law continued to stay with him, while I stayed at a hotel. After a couple days, I got a call from brother-in-law asking me to come home so that we could all talk. He assured me I would be safe. Turns out, my husband has been having an affair with an intern at his company, 21 female, and is deeply in love and wants to be with her. He told brother-in-law this shortly after I left. He wanted to make me the bad guy. So first started with the no-touching rule, figuring I would get fed up with it, or that eventually I would make a mistake and he could use that to claim I was violating him. That is what happened. So that I would be the bad guy. It was also a way to reduce intimacy of all types with me, while he was falling out of love with me, and in love with his affair partner. So we made up the stuff about trauma flaring up. It isn't actually having a psychotic break, although obviously he has some level of mental problems to do something so cruel. For what it's worth, he did apologize, sort of. Said he was just so in love with the other woman and couldn't deal with hurting me directly by leaving me right away, so came up with this plan. And just got a little too caught up in character when I gave him the mistaken hug with calling me an offender, making a police report and threatening my job. We sat down and talked about everything, with brother-in-law's mediator, and agreed to a cordial and quick divorce. Dividing assets 50-50. Thankfully no pets or kids. I know I could probably make things harder for him under the circumstances, but I really just want to move on as soon as possible and put this all behind me. I have a good job/income, and don't need anything from him other than my freedom ASAP. I appreciate everyone who commented. It always sends me messages. Apologies for not responding personally to everyone, but was a bit overwhelmed. Even though things went in an unexpected direction, it was so helpful to see that what was happening wasn't normal. It also helped me to prepare for the truth when it came out. Thank you. Girl, F him. I'm so sorry. Edit, please don't F him. No, never again. She can have him. Warning, he'll come slithering back singing the Learned My Lesson song right around the time that the intern dumps him, and or he gets fired for screwing around on the job. You're doing great. Leave him in your rearview mirror forever. Yeah, that's gonna be a big no. He can lie to bed he made/unmade. Okay, but he's how old and messing around with a 21-year-old intern at his work. Sounds like you need to call his work. Not only is there a big age gap, but there is a power gap as well. Add his narcissist-type behavior, and yeah. If she leaves him after he gave up his wife and life for her, it's going to end badly for her. I mean, she's an adult, at least technically. Plays stupid games, wins stupid prizes. He says she's in a different department, so he's not her manager and is not against the rules, although somewhat frowned upon. It's actually one of the reasons I wanted to do our divorce settlement quickly, in case he gets fired. I don't want to get stuck paying alimony because he suddenly doesn't have an income. Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Definitely let the divorce finalize first. I should say I'm proud of you for getting out quickly. He sounds awful, to be honest, and you sound lovely. We actually already have a signed agreement, although it will take a bit to finalize legally. I spent the bonus I mentioned in my earlier post on a good divorce lawyer who could draw up the agreement right away, saying how we are dividing existing accounts and property and that we aren't entitled to each other's income or retirement. He wants to move on with a new girl, so he wanted to do things as fast as possible too. I'm just looking forward to him no longer being my problem in any capacity. While he would deserve you absolutely destroying him, he's proven he's an absolute lunatic and is willing to destroy your life to get out of an uncomfortable conversation. So it's way safer for you to just cut your losses and get out as soon as you can. Save everything you can in terms of documentation though, and see if you can get someone to get pictures of him with the affair partner before the divorce, just in case he goes psycho again. Thank you, that is a good idea. I will talk to my lawyer about the best way to document everything in case there is ever any question about the truth. Last story is titled, Update. My husband, who has been parenting my daughter for 10 years, doesn't want to adopt her after she asked him to be her dad for real, and I don't know what to do about our marriage. Original story. I had a child when I was 16 and I'm not with her father, and quite honestly, I don't know where he is. He wanted nothing to do with my daughter. When she was 6, I met my current husband. He promised me to love her and would treat her like his own, and it seems like he has. We have more kids together. It was her 16th birthday last week, and she told me that she wanted her stepdad to adopt her. I thought this was a great idea, and he has always been her dad anyways. He said yes, and there were a lot of happy tears, and my younger kids were happy. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. That night he told me we had to talk. He told me that he did love her, but not the same. And he felt a bit weird adopting her because he felt like it would be a disservice to her to have a dad who didn't love her like his other kids. He told me that he wanted to talk to her about it and say that she could definitely take the last name if she wanted, but that he couldn't adopt her and that he felt bad about it, but it wouldn't be fair to anyone. He said he knows we are a package deal and would always treat her well and like a part of the family, but he couldn't be her dad. He told me he was sorry and he felt guilty and that he would take care of it and I didn't have to. My heart never hurt more in that moment and I genuinely feel like I have failed my daughter. I told him I didn't want him to speak to her about it, and that if he clearly doesn't think of her as his kid, then it's my job as a parent to take care of her. I don't know what to do. Do I ask for a divorce? I've felt sick, dizzy, and numb all week. How do I tell my daughter? I don't know what to do. And please don't tell me that step-parents don't have to love their step-kids the same, because my daughter doesn't have a father and considers my husband to be her dad. He has helped raise her and disciplined her, and shared her best and worst moments with her. I have never felt so terribly about something in my life. Please help. I think I want a divorce. Edit. My daughter said she wasn't feeling well, so she stayed home from school. She asked us if her dad actually wanted to adopt her or if he was pretending to, because she said he's been avoiding her ever since she asked. He hugged her and kissed her and told her he loves her so much, but needed to talk to her. They're on a drive right now. I pray he doesn't tell her the truth. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Wow. That's definitely something that would make me feel different. I would never look at him the same again. I've felt so sick that I haven't been able to make eye contact. As a stepdad, I have raised my stepdaughter from the time she was 3, and she's 11 now. I always clung to the idea of deferred parentage. I've been her dad more than her real dad. I would say that my love for her is only as much as what I feel reciprocated. But that is a choice. Love is a choice. There aren't cherubs making us love some more than others. I can't say why he feels as he does, but if I were you, I would remind him that feelings are not facts. That's good for you right now in this moment as well. How you feel right now after given that information should be viewed in light of what all he has done. He is that little girl's father. His reaction is inexplicable. Just talk to him, don't be rash. Not being a step-parent yourself, don't judge him too harshly right now. I can't imagine the openness and vulnerability it took for a 16-year-old to ask this. I'm sure she felt he would say yes, or she wouldn't have risked the rejection. It's weird when you think about how adoption typically works by people legally becoming parents of babies and children they haven't even met yet. And he can't adopt a child he's already raising and partially responsible for? I'm not gonna lie, I would definitely divorce a man who would do this. I don't understand his reasoning at all. Looking past how crap he is for not loving her like his own kids despite being her dad for 10 years, it's even crappier that he's not willing to adopt her anyway. She has no dad but sees him as one. It would not impact his life in any way to do this for her. But by denying it, especially after saying he would, he will cause lasting trauma to your daughter. I could never love a man who would do that to my child. I understand the risks with adoption, but she's 16 and would likely be 17 before the adoption is finalized. Any parental responsibilities would be over in a year, and he's already fulfilling those responsibilities as is. There's no downside to him adopting her. He's choosing not to do this, choosing to cause trauma to your daughter for no purpose. And now for the update. Everyone was helpful. I know a lot of people told me divorce, but I'm going to try to fix things first. I don't want my oldest to feel like it's all her fault, younger kids to resent her, and I'm scared he wouldn't want to see her anymore. We are going to marriage counseling, and I'm looking for a therapist for my daughter. I let my husband talk to her because I felt like I should give them that, and trusted that he wouldn't be stupid. They went on a drive. Don't know what was said exactly, but they're both upset. I'm going to use fake names to make it easier. My daughter stopped calling my husband Dad and calls him Mike now. If she even speaks/looks at him. He seems upset by it, but I don't know what to tell him. Isn't it what he wanted? My girl has been very quiet and tired, and I told her to stay home from school for a few days, but she didn't want to. My other daughter asked us, why is Hannah calling Daddy Mike? Is he not her daddy anymore? Does that mean she isn't my sister? I corrected her and my husband looked horrified, but I once again didn't know what to say to him. I've been calling her your sister instead of Hannah when I talk about her, and I hope it helped. Once again, thank you. I'm exhausted as a mom and a wife, but I am the glue right now and I am doing my best to make the marriage work and to be a good mom. I'm sure she'll remember that car ride for the rest of her life. I wish her nothing but the best as she navigates this betrayal. Good luck to you. I know you're doing what you think is right, but you're going to need it. No matter what, someone is going to face lasting emotional distress from this situation. This reply is gold. You have betrayed your daughter. I feel so bad for her and can't believe after all the advice that you received, you let this happen. This is a child for Pete's sake. Can you not see what you have done to her? You have effectively excluded her from the family that she has known all her life. No amount of counseling is gonna fix this one. It's very possible your husband has irreparable damage to his relationship with your daughter forever. And that is incredibly sad for her and could have lasting effects on her development, self-esteem, and self-worth. How self-centered that now he is upset that she isn't treating him like dad anymore. He said it couldn't be hers, so what on earth does he expect? His whole reasoning and feelings about this seems to be very selfish. Have you asked him what exactly he told her on to drive? I also don't get his insistence on telling her right away, and the fact he told her yes first and then backpedaled? Lots of red flags. I know he didn't tell her the real reason. I think he might love her more than he thinks, and is regretting his decision. You can tell him he got what he asked for. No one has any good advice, because quite frankly, your husband is an idiot. He's been her parent for 10 years, and suddenly is stuck over some wordplay? In 2 years, it literally wouldn't matter if she would be 18. To be honest, she isn't 16. Lied about her age for more privacy. She's younger, but he has been in her life for a decade. Okay, no problem. That's a minor detail. He still got what he wanted. Quite frankly, ignore his feelings. He signed up to take care of her as a father figure. Did so for 10 years. There's absolutely no difference between adopting her or not to him. But to her, it was a grand gesture and he blew her off. She'll never forget this. And quite frankly, people cut their parents off for a lot less when they grow older. Edit, I see he made a wrong choice. I am telling my husband he better fix it, and I'll start getting my stuff in order and looking for lawyers. My stepdaughter wants her real dad to give her away. Plus updates. Original post. My stepdaughter will be getting married on August 3rd. The wedding planning has consumed most of her and her mother's life for the past 6 months. I say her mother because we aren't married, though we've lived together for 10 years. My stepdaughter graduated last December from university. I paid for her to go to college. Though it was a state school, it still ran $40,000. She does not have a job and has been living with us for the duration of her college career and since her graduation. I also bought her a car to get back and forth from school when she finished high school. From time to time, her deadbeat father would pop into her life and she would fawn all over him. Although he has not contributed a cent to her education or paid any child support, she still loves him and wants him in her life, though that is my girlfriend's fault as child support was not part of the settlement. He stays long enough to break her heart by skipping town and breaking some promise that he made her. So, the wedding venue holds 250 people max. I gave them a list of 20 people that I want invited, since I was paying for everything. They told me that was no problem and they'd take care of it. So, I let these people know they'd be getting an invite and they should save the date. This Saturday, I saw one of my friends on this list at a golf course and asked if he was coming. He told me that he wasn't invited. He told me that he got an announcement but not an invitation. He had it in his backseat, along with probably 6 months of mail and showed it to me. Sure enough, it was just an announcement, and my name was nowhere on it. It had her dad's name and her mom's name, and not mine. This led to a pretty big fight with my girlfriend, as I found out that none of my list of 20 made a cut for the final guest list, because 250 people is very tight. I was angry, but not a hell of a lot I could do, because the important people in my life had already been offended. My girlfriend said, if some people didn't RSVP yes, I might be able to get a couple people in. But that is an ultimate slap in the face in my opinion. So, I was boiling on Saturday. Yesterday, we had a Sunday dinner with the future in-laws family and us, and a surprise guest, the real dad. At this little dinner, my stepdaughter announced that her real dad was going to be able to make it to her wedding, and that now he'd be able to give her away. This was greeted with a chorus of, "Oh, how great," and "How wonderfuls." I don't think I ever felt so angry and so disrespected. I was shaking. I took a few seconds to gather my composure, because I honestly wasn't sure if I would cry or start throwing punches or both. Once I was sure I'd be able to speak, I got up from my chair and said I'd like to make a toast. I can't remember exactly what I said, but the gist of it was this: I'd like to make a toast. The sound of spoons against glasses ring in my ears. It has been my great pleasure to be part of this family for the past 10 years. Aw, how sweet. At this point in my life, I feel I owe a debt of gratitude to bride and groom, because they have opened my eyes to something very important. Confident smiles exchanged. They have showed me that my position in this family is not what I once thought it was. And now a glimmer of confusion and shock begins to spread on the faces in the room. Though I once thought of myself as the patriarch or godfather of the family, commanding great respect and sought out for help in times of need, it seems instead that I hold the position of an ATM. Good for a stream of money, but not much else. As I have been replaced as host, both on the invitations and in the ceremony, I am resigning my financial duties as host to my successor, a real dad. So cheers to the happy couple and the path they have chosen. I finished my drink and said, "You all can let yourselves out." Is this selfish? Am I supposed to shell out 40 to 50 grand for a wedding that I can't invite anyone to? That I'm not a part of? I'm so done with this crap. I'm done with my stepdaughter. I'm done with my girlfriend. I transferred the money out of our joint account last night. She has not had a job since she moved in with me. This morning, I called all the vendors I had written checks to for deposits to refund my money. At present, it looks like I'll lose around $1,500 for the venue, but the other vendors have been great about refunding. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Sir, I respect the stance you have taken and find it disgusting that you would be treated this way after 10 years. The best of luck to you. Ah, catharsis. Seriously, OP, come back in a week and let us know. I swelled with pride listening to how you stood up for yourself. Finally, a good word spoken. Never let others determine your value. I applaud you. This, after 10 years of some sentimental security, if we can call it that, and investment, it takes a great deal of courage for a man to stand his ground and clearly, not passive-aggressively, refuse to take any part of it. It would be totally understandable if they had given even just a small consideration to your wishes. But to leeches like these, just shake them off your back, man. I would have been even angrier. You paid for her college. You were going to pay for her wedding. And they couldn't even do the bare minimum of inviting your 20 people? That is just pure disrespect towards you. I would get out of that toxic environment right away. I can't believe the mother would do this and allow it. As a woman who got dealt a deadbeat addict horrible piece of crap from my son's father, I'm amazed. I found a great guy who has been there for us. If my son acted like this, I would put him in his place. Real dad or not, this guy has been there day in and out. She could have even opted for both of them to walk her down the aisle. The worst part is, here is this man who grew to love her as his own. So much so that he wanted to invite people he loved to share in celebrating her love, and she basically said, screw that. Didn't even tell him, just hid it behind his back. You handled that beautifully. I'm a young woman with both a real dad and stepdad in my life that I love very much. I've often wondered which would walk me down the aisle. My two dads hate each other, so I worry about offending the other. Would you have felt better if she asked the both of you to walk her down the aisle? As in one dad on each arm? Your situation is probably different than ours. If real dad has contributed time and money to raising you throughout your life, has shared in alleviating the anguish that is bringing up a teenage girl rather than contributing to it, then you should be fine. Ask them both to meet you. Ask them both to do it as a favor to you. No man could refuse that. Very true. Sometimes you have to put your differences aside for the sake of someone else's happiness. My sister and I have a very similar situation. Our real dad has never paid for a single thing. It has hardly been in our lives at all. He was and is an alcoholic, and my mom chose to take him out of our lives when I was 2 and my sister was 5, and then she married another man when I was 6. Our last names were switched to his last name, and when my mom and stepdad got divorced when I was 12, he paid child support for us until 18. We've been calling him dad since I was 5, and consider him our dad, even though since I was 13 we started seeing our real father a couple times a year. We call them both dad. To clarify to each other which dad we are talking about, we say dad 1 or dad 2. Anyways, I would 100% get my stepdad to walk me down the aisle, even though I know this would hurt my biological dad. My stepdad is the one who has taken care of me, and is the one who deserves to give me away. My sister, on the other hand, would get my biological dad to give her away, I believe. Maybe even get them both to give her away like Opie suggested. But I think you have every right to be angry as they're unappreciative and taking advantage of you. Your stepdaughter sounds like a spoiled brat who has kept her biological dad on a pedestal no matter how lame of a father he has been. And your girlfriend is ridiculous. If I try that crap, my mom would lose it on me for being so ungrateful. And they're not just being ungrateful for financial stability, it's the stability of the family. And father, that's important too. You did the right thing withdrawing your financial help to this wedding, if these two women are really the selfish. Now for the first update. The immediate aftermath was tantrum and people sitting there mumbling while not actually saying anything to me, but to each other. After much yelling with a girlfriend about me being selfish, I spent the night in my home office and no one knocked on my door. Not once. Today's aftermath is kind of depressing for me. Girlfriend brought me the bride's wedding planner to show me how much work I was ruining. I thumbed through it and found a page in the music section for father-daughter dances. All of the songs were catered to real dad's taste. So I thought they were just being disrespectful, but now I'm feeling like they never really gave a crap at all, especially since the menu included 2 ingredients I'm allergic to. That actually made me laugh. Either way, I'm glad to be done. Return the planner and ask her when she and bride could move out. Also, I never promised to pay for the wedding. I offered them the use of my home when they were sure it was going to be small. But other than that, all I've heard is how it's the bride's family that should pay. So, let it be the bride's family then, aka not me. Final update a week later. Girlfriend and bride are now moved out. They're moving in with the groom. It was very hard not to be petty with some of the belongings they took with them, but it's done. And I switched out the locks and now it's time for a brew. I can't believe how popular the story got, but I feel good to be given support by so many. If I find out what happens with the wedding, I'll let you know, but I can't guarantee that I will put in the effort to find out. From what I've heard, they're trying to scale things back and get his parents to help out. Girlfriend burned bridges when I found out she tried to write herself a check on our joint account the day after the unpleasantness. By then I had already moved money, so I guess I'm a bigger jerk than her, but I could feel it coming. That's all. Thanks. Sometimes you're having a kind of murky day with less than fun thoughts. Then you read something like this and just kinda appreciate that your problems are nowhere near as absurd as this guy's. Reddit has made me feel better about my late mother-in-law. She sucked, but at least she wasn't bad crap crazy. My mother-in-law and I have a good functional relationship, but I suppose if we weren't related, we wouldn't seek out each other's company. Our personalities don't complement each other, and there have been times where it's felt a bit strained or awkward. But my goodness me, she's such a wonderful person. She's generous, steps in to help whenever she can, keeps her head in a crisis, and can basically handle anything. Reddit has made me realize that the people worth keeping close are the good people, not the people you click with. I used to make jokes about having a typically awkward relationship with my mother-in-law, but not now. I bet the parents of the groom are on his case to not marry into such a messy and toxic family. This was my thought too. How is groom's family reacting? Like, do they want him to bail or were they in on the fleecing? I'd say at least 2 options. Either they're trying to tell groom to bail and refusing to add money to the wedding, or they're cursing Opie along with ex-girlfriend and bride, then trying to mooch off someone else. There was a post like this where the biological dad paid for the wedding, and then the daughter said that she wanted the stepdad, the guy the mother cheated on bio dad with, to walk her down the aisle. And then the bio dad cut the daughter off and didn't even speak to her even when he was dying, / saying his last words. It was her mom's idea too. And then she wouldn't listen when literally everyone, aside from mom and stepdad, told her what a horrible idea that would be, and she should let bio dad do it. I still think mom secretly wanted a final FU to deny him the one singular honor he'd been looking forward to for 24 years. She got that, and then apparently just watched as her daughter tore herself to pieces with regret over the irreparable damage that had been done. Last story. How to tell my female 35 family and friends that my partner male 42 doesn't owe them anything just because he's rich. My partner, not married, is generally considered rich. He's a good person, with a good career and is a good caretaker. He loves and helps his family any way he can. He's a good father, even a good ex-husband to his ex-wife. We met when he was going through some dark times. I helped him get through many things and overcome some dark behaviors. For this reason, he feels thankful to me. So he spoils me, not only with love but with things too. For instance, I had a really bad accident. So he bought me a 6-figure car, which I didn't ask for, but he did it anyway. He takes me on trips 3 times a year, one with his family, one with friends, and one just the 2 of us. He spends money on cars, technology, and travels. But that's about it. We don't go to fancy places. We don't buy expensive jewelry or wear designer clothes. This is where my problem starts. My mom suddenly stopped working and asked me to pay for her car while she looked for a job. This was 2 years ago. She stopped working and I'm stuck with her car note. My siblings expect me to pay for their kids' parties because I can afford it because my partner is rich. My friend and I went to a concert and I paid for the tickets, and she was supposed to Venmo me for a ticket, but she didn't because I don't need the money. During a house party, some friends asked me to buy the good liquor just because I can, and got upset when I didn't. Siblings expect me to pay when we go out to eat. I don't even offer to pay. They tell me what they want for Christmas, things that I don't even have, like an LV bag. And the things I need to buy for my nieces and nephews for Christmas? Expensive things. How can I tell everyone to just stop expecting me to use my partner's money to buy them stuff? As I said before, we're actually very frugal when it comes to everything else. Tell them point blank, and stop spending time with people who take advantage of you. It's going to be an uphill battle, since you've let them treat you like this. If someone asks you for a bag, either ignore them or ask them point blank why they're asking for a bag, or ask them for something at a similar price point. You're almost certainly going to lose friends over this. If they ask for an LV bag, buy them a knockoff. Your family and friends have a lot of nerve putting expectations on you when you're not even married to your partner. But we teach people how to treat us. It sounds like your partner is a kind and generous man. Would this be easier for you if you remind yourself that you're not being kind to him by removing his ability to decide how to spend his money? Realistically, it's going to be hard to draw these boundaries at first. You may want to enlist your partner to back you up. Not to blame you for not letting you spend the money, which would be unfair to him, but to say things like, "We've been trying to keep to a budget for gifts," or "We've been examining our financial priorities, and we're cutting back on dining out." Just consistent messaging. The phrase, "Sorry, it's not in the budget," may be your friend. It doesn't imply that you don't have the money, just that you've chosen to allocate your funds in other ways. I would do a combination of things. 1. Set boundaries and expectations for things like gifts up front. What would the kids like for Christmas? I'm budgeting X dollar per child and Y dollar for adults this year. If you're going out to meal with your siblings, don't agree to go to expensive places and ask for separate checks up front or ask your sibling to pay and send them the money. Don't agree to pay for things like parties. There will probably be an extinction burst where they ask you for even more stuff to see what they can get you to take on. But if you hold firm, they will eventually stop asking. 2. For your mom and her car payment, well, depending on your relationship with her and her ability to work, you may either be stuck paying off the car and then never agreeing to take on an expense like that again, or having a frank conversation with her about what her plans are for resuming work and taking the payment over again. It sounds like your mom has decided that you're her retirement plan, so you may also need to do some thinking about how you're going to manage that. If you want, you can redirect the money for expensive gifts and stuff into educational funds for the kids in your family, so that you're still using your resources to benefit the family, but you're not setting expectations for material goods. And let's face it, they're going to come to you when it's time for college anyway. Might as well get ahead of it. Thank you for your comment. You have great ideas. I'm going to start telling them I have a budget for everything. Christmas, birthdays, etc. You're right. My mom thinks I'm her retirement fund. She's always mentioned it since I was little. She would say things like I need to save money to buy her house when she's old. But now, she's using me to pay for a car. The car is in my name because she doesn't have good credit. So I guess I'm stuck with it unless she finds a job. But that's the last time I use my credit to help her buy anything.